What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Anton on One podcast. My name is Anton Fausto, and today it's gonna be another Anton on One with himself. So I'll be talking to you guys about my new girl, my new baby girl, Jess, my beagle. She's still a puppy now, and I'll be talking about how it was like, why I got her, and to all those people who are curious about what it's like to be a dog owner, because I thought I would have a wife and kids before I got a dog, but here we are, and I know that this pandemic has made a lot of people feel a lot lonelier, and maybe my conversion to being a dog parent and my experience could give you guys some insight whether or not you plan to get a dog or whatever. But before all that, I just want to take this time to thank everybody who answered the surveys, who took part in the market research for us to be able to improve this podcast. You really don't know how much each and every opinion and input that you guys provided. You don't know how much that means to me, and how I'm very grateful for that. And with that, we do have an Albero giveaway, but I'll be announcing the winner to that next week. We're still finalizing the details. I'm so excited to know who's gonna win, what the prize is gonna be. We're gonna find out next week. Okay, so let's get to it. Why did I even think of wanting to get a dog in the first place? So I've always kind of wanted to have a dog, but I've also been someone who has shied away from big responsibilities that I wasn't sure, what it was gonna be like. With the dog kasi, it's another living thing. I already felt, back in grade school, I never ran for president. I was vice president from grades 4 to 6 because I was nervous of the huge responsibility. As if grade school president, is a real big responsibility compared to the things we deal with today. But then back in those years, when you're a 10-year-old and you think about being the class president, the number one person in the entire class, that's a huge responsibility. I think, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have time for myself. I wouldn't, babawas yung fun ko. So I kind of have that relationship towards big responsibility, something that I've been trying to fix. And so I never really thought of having a dog, but both my brothers did. So we're 3 boys. If this is your first time listening to me ever, I'm the bunso of 3 boys, and 2 of my elder brothers, they would be the more, when you look at what a successful student should be and how he should behave and stuff, mas sila dun eh. Mas mataas yung grades nila. I'd say mas mabait sila. Basta mas gago akong bata. So, these are my words. These are my words, by the way. So, my eldest brother got a dog. Her name was Anya. And then, this was when they were grade school din eh. So, I honestly don't remember now. Probably they were 10 years old or something. Basta bata. And then my second brother, Enrique, got a dog also, another beagle named Copper. But back in that time kasi, all our dogs were the type of dogs that they were just kept in the cage. They only got to go out once a day to walk on a leash around the village. We even had this dog. Shout out to any TP6 people out there na natakot sa aso namin, named Batman. I don't know the breed, pero mukha siyang German Shepherd, pero black, as in all black everything. His name was Batman, and he was a terror in our village. Tipong, our house kasi, we live right in front of the village park. I heard stories recently of how if you go from the village park to the street on the side, you just have to walk. But you're going to be in the vicinity of our house. There are some people who would walk around. They would go 2 additional streets just to avoid our house because of the legend that is Batman. And what happened to Batman is nakakatakas siya eh. He's a very rowdy dog. But full of love, I would imagine. I was too young. Nakatakas siya. And then meron siya kinagat na aso. So he essentially killed the puppy. And what my mom was thinking was, this is too big of a risk. Kasi what if next time tao na yun? Which I understand. So we had to take him down. We had to have him put down. Ugh. And I was there when it happened. It happened in our front door. Outside our front door, by the bench. My dad was with him, holding him. The vet was there. The injection happened, and I was there. And I remember seeing this look in his eyes. I remember, I don't know where that journal is, but I wrote about this before. I was more dramatic pa as a kid. I probably over-dramatized the situation, but I saw his eyes and then, I don't know, I remember writing something like, why are you letting this happen to me? Something like that. I never really touched him or played with him because he was a big dog and I was also kind of scared of him. Our other dogs naman, so Copper and Anya, they were also in the cage a lot. They weren't really given much attention. And my brothers were kids at that time. So when they're busy with school, they're busy with school. That's the priority here also. It's your studies, your other responsibilities. It was never really in the to-do list of, oh, you gotta do these stuff for the dog. So they eventually got sick, and I know that beagles are a sickly breed. Is that the term? Basta madali sila magkasakit. So they both got sick, they passed away, and my parents never made the mistake of giving me a dog for one of my birthdays. And I was kind of okay with that. I was a little sad, obviously, kasi syempre cute yung dog, may kasama ka, may kagaro ka. But at the same time, I was like, gets ko. Mas mataas yung grades nila sa akin. Like, kung di kaya ng mga kuya ko, feel ko di ko rin kaya. So fast forward it, I'm around 20 plus years old already. And I would see people with dogs. As in, I would go visit people at my friends' houses, and the dog is really part of their family, which is something that wouldn't happen here. My house is not baby proof, so mas lalo na hindi siya dog proof. There's too many, art, sculptures, furniture, stuff that di talaga bagay. Pati nga sa agikabok eh. So, mas lalo na sa aso, diba? Di talaga bagay. So, but it's already kind of been in my mind, like, oh, parang it'd be nice to have a dog. I'd entertain the thought a little bit, but I'd be like, nah, it's too big of a responsibility. My mom would never allow me. Until suddenly, I would send mga pictures and stuff to my brothers of mga dogs. I'd see posts of people saying na, oh, they're selling, like, they have a litter. Apparently, that's what you call a bunch of puppies, a litter of puppies, and they're selling them. So I would send them a bit. And then when Enrique said, okay, just have to convince mama. Kasi I would just notice that parang, I would expect yung tipong, oh, that's cute, oh, that's nice, oh, kung sana lang, no? Yung mga ganun. But when Enrique said, oh, cool, just have to convince mama, I was like, wait a minute. So is there an alternate reality? Is there a timeline in my life where we could actually have a dog here in the Fresh Fausta household? I didn't think it was possible. It was around, I think, early Feb. I woke up. There was one intense time I woke up with a panic attack. So the first time I've ever had a panic attack, I think it's a panic attack, was back in 2018. You just wake up. There's nothing that I can think of that clearly triggered it. But my experience of what a panic attack like is for me, obviously, I don't know. I'm not sure what the textbook definition is, or if other people have, or if there's a professional definition. But what it felt like to me was, I woke up and then I was just overwhelmed by everything. Because usually if you wake up at like 2 a.m., you think, oh, I just gotta take a piss. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do. But when I wake up from my bed and I think of the distance from my bed to the bathroom, which is like less than 10 meters, like my breathing starts getting heavy and I feel my palms sweating a little bit. My heart starts racing. And then there's just fear. There's this real fear. I'm saying it with a smile. It wasn't fun. It's just kind of like, wow, that actually happened to me. There's this real fear, even if I know and I'm 100% certain that there is nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing. I'm not in danger. I'm in a safe home. There's no one out there to get it. I know it. I know that it's not logical for it to happen. But it was happening. So I get really scared, and then I don't know. I'm just scared of the infinite possible outcomes of what's gonna happen. How many steps do I have to take from my bed to my CR? Then when I think of the number of steps, I think of a number. So I start thinking about how there are so many numbers. There are infinite amount of numbers ever, and that stuff overwhelms me even more. So it's just thinking and thinking and thinking. I end up having to distract myself. I try to play Smash. I try to watch Netflix. But people, there are times I'm gonna start watching an episode of Modern Family, but then 3 minutes in, I'm like, I can't focus on this. I'm too worried of I don't know. So that's what happened. That's what happened in my head, and then eventually just goes away, and then it sort of just subtly dies down. And so I've talked to some people about it. I mentioned it to my parents. And when you talk about, I do acknowledge there's still a stigma when it comes to talking about your mental health problems. Even if I see the trend, at least in my timeline, I see a trend of how people are talking about it more. There are podcasts popping up about mental health. Like, it's becoming more normalized. Yet I still live with that stigma that I don't. Where I am right now is I don't want to go see professional help because I have talked to. So after that, like, so syempre I wanted to process it. I've talked to people. I've talked to trusted friends of mine who have had mental health problems, and they have had the experience of seeing professionals about it, psychiatrists, and having those sessions. Some of them say it helps. Some of them say it didn't really help. What I did was I asked each of them, what is the main thing you learned from it? What's the main thing you learned from it? And I was writing it down. And it sort of helped me. And I felt like, and I do believe that people deal with their issues in their own ways. And if I can find ways to deal with my issues without having to seek professional help, that's going to save me money. And I'm not comfortable with it. I still have that stigma that once you go see a professional, even if it's supposed to be treated like a physical health, like if I have a broken arm, I have to go see a doctor and then have it fixed. Like, if there's something happening up there, I gotta see someone and have it fixed. But if you do see someone, parang it makes the problem a little bigger. So this getting a dog was one of my ways, I guess, of coping with it. So that's what sort of led me to be like, you know what? F it. I'ma just ask my parents. And sakto, one of my friends, shout out to Claire Maniego, she was one of those people, she was posting on her Instagram story of how they had a bunch of puppies that they were selling, beagles. So, beagles pa lang, alam ko, may ano na yun, may emotional factor na yun sa family ko. Kasi, they both had beagles. I never had a beagle. Cute naman yung beagle. Not too furry. The hair isn't so long because I have asthma. My mom has asthma as well. So that's like a big no-no. And so I thought that, if there was any time or reason to go get a dog, it wasn't gonna be porket cute lang eh. Kasi that's how I thought about dogs before. Like, why are people so obsessed with dogs? Like, there are a lot of people who hype up dogs more than they hype up humans. Like, they love dogs so much. And I'm like, why isn't that? Why that's not right that they're treating dogs better than they're treating humans? They're just cute eh. But I started hearing stories about how no, it's not. They're not just cute. They're an actual companion. They always love you. They're not, diba? Parang, and I started to think about those. Okay, maybe there are some real benefits as to why so many people are dog people. And I thought, you know what, this might be the time. So anyway, back to the Instagram stories. So I saw Claire post that those bunch of beagles probably a few weeks before I got the panic attack and stuff. So I thought they were all sold out na. And then she posted again. Then I asked her like, oh, parang akala ko, diba? I thought they were sold out. And then they had one last one. They had one last puppy. It was a female. She was so small by that time. And then I found out, then she also lived in one of the villages of my friends. So I was thinking, you know what? It wouldn't hurt to like just go see the dog and visit to actually see. Kasi I was kind of in the, okay, baka I want to get a dog. But you know what? Maybe if I see the dog and then I sleep on it, baka I don't want pala. Baka it's just for now. Baka it's just, wala lang. Parang craving mo lang. You crave to have some ice cream for a few days. The next days, you're gonna crave chocolate naman. Akala ko ganun. So I visited her with my friend. We even have a clip of it here. Birthday. Can I carry her?
Yeah.
Where do I hold her if I carry her? Here?
Doggo.
Oh my god.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, Anton! You have to get her now. You're so cute.
And when I found out her birthday was December 6th, my birthday is December 7th, so she's a day before me. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Parang the stars are aligning. Parang I should go and try to get this dog. I did have the panic attack, which was like, oh, you gotta do something about this. Her birthday was near mine. She was already gonna be bought by someone else who backed out, so siya na gang. Like, it wasn't, I didn't, and it wasn't because, I made sure, it wasn't like she was the most inferior dog or there's something wrong with her, kaya siya yung naiwan. That's what I think. And so I visited her, played with her a bit, and was sorry to feel. And syempre, my friends who were with me there, they're also dog lovers. Syempre, hype. Sila, you gotta get her. And at that time, I was really into the show New Girl, starring Zoe Deschanel, and her name was Jess. Basta crush na crush ko yung character dun, and gusto ko yung vibe niya eh. And if I were to get a dog, gusto ko kasing vibe niya. Because Zoe Deschanel in the show, her name was Jess. She's a very bubbly person, super, super sociable, so many quirks, makulit, very lovable. So I was like, if I had a dog, I want it to be that vibe. The day after I visited, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and ask, without any hope masyado of it turning into of my mom actually saying yes. Because I was kind of talking to my brothers about it, talking to my dad, and the common sentiment was kind of like, okay, just gotta convince your mother. Parang ganun yung vibe eh. I know my dad also loves dogs, and before anything else, my mom doesn't hate dogs. She just really loves her house, and the dog is a hassle. I'd have to say it really is. It disrupts the way this household has been run, diba? The past 20 plus years. So I made a PowerPoint, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. That's how we do it in this household. I understand that people think like, oh, it's so corporate naman, ganun. Pero yeah, it works eh. And it's pretty clear. Instead of it just being like, oh, I want a dog, it's like, no, I thought this through, and I did really think this through, and it was something I wanted, but it wasn't but I totally understood. I totally would understand also if my mom was to say no. Like, I totally understand it. It's not that practical. It's gastos din siya kasi on my end eh. So here is my PowerPoint. So of course I started with a bunch of pictures of the all-time great dog-human duos. Diba? We got Scooby-Doo, and we got Marley and Me, we got Modern Family, and then we have the potential, Anton and Jess. So that's how she looked like. She was so tiny. One of her parents is actually a pocket beagle, so she's gonna stay small forever. And so I threw them with you might be wondering, I started to think of what are the questions that my mom's going to be asking me, like, who's going to take care of the dog? Who's going to pay for everything? Am I responsible for this responsibility? How will they benefit from this? For me, kasi it was, again, since my brothers got the dog and I didn't, I always just thought that I'm the person who doesn't have what it takes, not responsible enough to take care of a dog. And if you want to achieve great things in life and you can't take care of a single dog, diba? Parang, ano ba yan? How can you expect to take on bigger things if you can't take on responsibility for a dog, which is a big responsibility, I have to say. And I threw in this, as a homemaker, this will add life and joy to an already happy home. Home dapat yan, not hope. If we learn to love her. Again, I wasn't expecting my mom to just like her agad and just, be totally cool with it. So again, here, I was just stating some facts, stating some opinions, and then I threw some science here. There have been a lot of articles talking about how there are mental health benefits to this. My friends have told me there are a lot of mental health benefits to this. They have helped a lot of war veterans. So I feel like, okay, if there is science that says a war veteran, which is probably one of the most, what's one of the most messed up things a human brain can go through? War. And then you come back as if everything's okay. I never went through war. So if a war veteran's problems are so big, mine are so much smaller to that. And if a dog can help these huge problems, a dog can probably help my smaller problems, is what I think. It also fills the void because yung pandemic, breakup, just having that other entity there, it is kind of it is kind of selfish. It is selfish. I got the dog for myself. I didn't get the dog for the dog. I mean, I think the dog would have had a good life whether or not, I hope she would have had a good life whether or not my family got her, but I got her for myself. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm doing it for some altruistic or some generous reason. I got the dog because I wanted my life to get better. And then I threw in this. You gotta throw in some, you gotta throw in some memes with a powerful message. So this one is the, I can't do it. And then you cut it up. Ooh, I can do it. So ganern. Okay, then I threw in some logistics. Again, just show your parents that you have thought these through. Although I haven't thought it through enough, apparently. There's a lot more things you gotta do if you're gonna have your own puppy. And then, of course, you gotta throw in, this is the one. This is the one that's gonna get them. Boom! Check out those pictures. Look at this angel. She looks totally different na nga now. Her ears aren't that black. But what my brother Marty realized recently, if you look closely to her whiskers, her right side are white and her left side are black. That's so wild. That's so special. Wala lang. I feel like it was just worth noting. So I showed that night. My mom's answer, it was like we appreciate the effort, ganyan, we understand, but no. So I was okay, cool. Kasi also I was thinking about it. Dami kong expenses dito, dami tong hassle. I still have my life to live, but then if I do get the dog, I'm gonna have to back this up. Like, I'm an adult now. I can't just, my parents aren't gonna handle my problems or my responsibilities if I end up failing on them. So if I mess up with this dog, I am messing up the dog's life. I'm gonna be a failure. And what? Hassle sa buong pamilya ko. Kasi if I failed with this dog, it's still rin ma-affect kasi we live in the same house. So I was okay with it. They said no. And I was honestly, there was a moment, I was like, okay. There was some relief to me that night. Like, I didn't cry about it. I wasn't so sad about it. It was kind of like oh well, I know I tried. And I was happy with where I was because it was one of those things na I'm never gonna know till I try. And these are one of the things that if I try and if I fail with it, like if they say no, that's totally fine. I'm okay. Like, I'm still gonna live my life. I'll find other ways to deal with my stuff. And then the next day, I posted her picture on my story, like asking around. Maybe some of my friends would wanna buy her and get her because I did feel a small lang naman. I'm not saying it was like a love at first sight, the magic ganun. Nah, that's not the case with this one. With me, there was a small emotional attachment I already had. And if one of my friends got her and eventually I could go to that friend's house and visit her, I mean, at least I would get to see her. I mean, like a consolation lang naman. Then my mom saw that story. She replied to it and said, like, do you really want her? Something like that. I forgot. Let me check. Just so that my facts are accurate. I got a lot of DMs with my mom. So I posted and she replied, do you really want this badly? I was thinking like, I don't want this dog as much as I wanted to be a mixed VJ, for example. So I said, yes, I do, but I understand naman. Thumbs up. And then she said, nabili na? Papa will talk to you later. Boom. That was it. I was like, oh, shit, I'm getting a dog. Oh, my goodness. I kind of knew what was coming. So my dad talked to me. So they talked to me and they told me na parang check muna if nakuha na, ganyan. Change their mind. I'm not really sure what really flipped. And then one of the things my mom would say when people asked about how did I convince my mom, she say na if your son brings up his mental health, diba, how can you say no? It's your son and the mental health. So I'm honestly kind of uncomfortable. I was kind of uncomfortable about it because I didn't want it to be like sige na nga, kuha ka na ng aso. Wala kami magawa. Our hands are tied. You use your mental health. I don't want it to be that way. And I don't want, mas lalo na if it fails. Mas lalo na if I get this dog. I talked about like, oh, I got a panic attack, therefore I kind of want a dog. I mean, that wasn't the only reason, but it was one of the motivations and factors that pushed me to getting a dog. I didn't want it to be like that, and I'm just getting this just because of mental health. I never wanted to use my problems as a reason to get something that I wanted. I didn't want to say, kasi I personally find it lazy to do so. I find it kind of irresponsible if you're gonna use that card, the mental health card, to get things that you want. Unless, of course, there really is no choice. Unless you're really in a dire situation, you're really having these dark thoughts, and you're like, I'm gonna call my friend up kahit hassle sa kanya, kahit busy siya, because I need to talk to that person. Those cases, go ahead, diba? But with this, it's a dog eh. I'm gonna hassle the entire household with this decision. I didn't want it to be just for my mental health, diba? But it was something like, it's a reality. I did. It really was one of the main messages of my PowerPoint, diba? I did talk about how it helps mental health and it fills the void. And it's gonna. I did tell them I had a panic attack. So I'm not saying that they shouldn't have thought that way. My parents shouldn't have thought that way or said. I'm not saying that. It is what it is. Yun lang. And so I got the dog. I was nervous about it. I couldn't sleep the night before trying to set up her cage. I bought all the stuff that I needed. I thought I was like, these are one of the things. And I'm like, okay, I'm earning money now. I can spend as much as I can to cover all the ground and to prevent any potential problems or hassles that it's gonna cost me once I do get the dog. But that's not the case. There are a lot of unforeseen challenges, I must say, when you get a dog, because okay, yeah, we got the cage, but it wasn't in the right spot pala. And then the spot we put her on, we put the cage in, the sun really hits it if it's the morning time, especially during the summer months. Like, there are so many things. There's so many challenges with getting a dog. But before I even talk about more challenges, I feel like it's time to introduce to you my new girl. Alright, so here she is. Here's my Jessie girl. This is gonna be a hard time to record. I can feel it. Okay, let me give her something to distract her. Here you go. Oh, shit. Okay, so there have been a lot of challenges when I first got her. To anybody who's gonna get a dog, I don't understand why people give dogs to little kids and expect them to take care of it. Dude, this is a living thing. Like, this is so hassle. Takes a shit like 2 to 3 times a day. Takes a piss every like 2 hours. Are you okay? Come up, Jess. Takes a piss every like 2 hours. And then you have to train her, and then everyone keeps talking about, oh yeah, you have to potty train her, you have to do this, ganyan. And for a moment, it was nice to me, because like, oh, I'm talking to so many people. Like, there's something to talk about in the world besides this pandemic. My life became this dog for like the first few weeks. I was stressed out of my mind. I was so tired. I was always like worried she might be eating random stuff, because yeah, obviously my house wasn't meant for dogs. We have a lot of breakable furniture. We have a lot of those, the snake, what do you call that plant, yung mahaba, which apparently is poisonous to dogs. Like, there's so much that could go wrong. And so I was always just worried about it. For the first few nights, she did sleep beside me. But di ko talaga trip eh. As in, I just gave her a bath the other day, pero wala, amoy aso pa rin eh. I feel like ganun talaga mga beagle eh. I mean, they're not gonna smell like stuffed toys. Her nails are long, and I can't seem to cut them because she keeps moving. So there have been a lot of challenges, I'd have to say. But I did realize, like, after the first week, I was like, hold up. I haven't had any anxious thoughts. Parang my anxiety level has greatly lowered. And I'm pretty sure it's this little fucker's fault. Because what happened to me, and this for me is a real life experience, is when you have focused so much of your time, effort, attention on another living thing, you kind of just hindi man stop but your worrying about your own problems and your own shit really lessens. So I understand to a tiny ass degree. I mean, this is nothing like having a human kid, but this is the closest thing I have to having a child. But I don't like it when she licks my face. That's gross. She sometimes eats. Is it normal for your dogs to eat their own shit? Or parang, I don't get it. Like, it came out of you. It's supposed to stay out of you. So why are you smelling it and like licking it, and yeah. So I don't let her lick my face. But back to what I was saying, which is a beautiful point, by the way. um, when you are taking care of an other, it really changes the way your priorities, and I think it just makes it better. It just makes your life a little better in terms of how it is more stressful. There's a lot more stuff to do. Diba? I always gotta clean her shit. I always gotta feed her. But I stopped worrying about you. I haven't had a panic attack since. I'm not a regular panic attack person, by the way. It doesn't come like quarterly. Like it's happened a few times this year, and then 2018. Parang ganun na eh. But I really felt that my life has changed. But the thing about it, which is so powerful, is that it was subtle. And I learned that the most powerful changes are the ones that are so subtle, so tiny that you really aren't gonna recognize it at first. I'm so smart with bringing this bone, by the way, no? She's not jumping or anything. She's not this nice, guys. I gotta tell you. Baka kasi she's facing the camera lang. But yun nga, the changes that are so powerful are so subtle. It's really just a tiny, not even 1%. It's like a 0.1% change every few days. And then suddenly, you're like, di naman suddenly kasi matagal nga eh. After a long while, you're like, wait, hold up, wait a minute. Parang mas okay na pala ako eh. So I think that would be the one that getting a dog, I knew was gonna cause more hassle and more problems that I had to face. But I think it's in accepting and facing those additional problems. You kind of end up solving the other problems that are beside it. I feel like oh, you're sleepy? I feel like that's the thing. I feel like that's the magic. That's the power. Why these stuff? Why these dogs are so hype? They're gonna die then in the future. I'm gonna be so sad about it. But you know what? While you're alive, okay tayo. We're goods. And just to touch on a little bit on the early struggles and challenges you face. Oh, you can research as much as you want on the internet, but your dog is one of a kind, and no matter what vloggers say or what your friends with dogs say, you kind of just have to adjust and trust how you take care of your dog. I've been watching this show on Netflix called Cali Canine, and I got so much of my tips there. It's so funny nga, kasi it's like this parang siyang gangsta vibe eh. As in, he gives me Ice Cube vibes, but he's talking about dogs, and it's funny to see like grown ass men talking about how much they love their dogs. Like let's normalize that. Talking about like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm talking about, you know, when oh, she loves that. She loves it when you pet her again. Parang ang angas-angas lang, but they're talking about the little dogs, diba? So yeah, that's funny. Oh, not the face, yo. I couldn't sleep well the first few nights. Just to run through what it was like for the challenges. The first few nights, I couldn't really sleep well because she slept in my room for the first like 3 or 4 nights. So she would wake up in a few hours to pee. Oh, gross. And then like the whole day, I'm just thinking of like, okay, is there something I'm not doing? Is there something I'm doing wrong? Is there something I should be doing? Oh. Ouch. No. And it's a bunch of just telling her no's. I mean, the thing with dogs, you really have to train them eh. And in training them, I mean, you have to manipulate them. Whenever they do something you like, you bribe them with some treat. Whenever they do something you don't like, you gotta scold them and say no. But just like with kids in the next generations, you're not supposed to hit dogs. My dad's generation says that's how you train dogs. If they start biting your slippers or whatever, you gotta hit them. But all these vloggers I'm seeing, American vloggers, white people, I'd have to say, they all say never hit the dog because makes sense. The dog isn't gonna be able to distinguish naman and understand why you're getting angry in the first place. Oh, ano? What you want, girl? Yeah, they're not gonna understand your anger in the first place. So you just gotta be extra patient. And I gotta tell you, my mom doesn't play with her, but she's slowly warming up to her. My mom likes her naman. She finds her cute. She says hi from the second floor. She's probably touched her head like twice. And the rest of my family really loves her. They like to play with her. They like to just see her. And dogs really bring families together, I have to say. Even if there are a lot of challenges and stuff. I don't think dogs are for everyone. If you don't want to get a dog, go ahead. By all means, don't. Just get what I did. You know the vacuum that like cleans by itself. That's what I was doing before I got the dog. I was just watching it go. I was so interested. Like, wow, this is such an intelligent being. This vacuum that cleans by itself. Same way now with this dog. I'm like, when she's at the garden and she's just sniffing, she sees, what's this? Oh, it's my shit. Let me sniff it. Oh, what's this? It's a dry leaf. Let me sniff it. Oh, what's this? A mango that fell. Oh, let me sniff it. Very very ADHD. This dog. But I love her, and I feel like with the love, it's not all good. It's not like people only post the good stuff about their dogs. They always say like, "Oh, my dog gives me so much happiness." Ganyan. Why doesn't anybody talk about how this dog has given me so much stress? I give her a bath, and she like basic things she doesn't want to do. She just want to get her ears cleaned. But then she always scratches her ears when she's when they're dirty. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that come with the dog, good and bad. But I would suggest that you just embrace the entire experience. It is gonna change you one way or another. Let's hope it's mostly good. I hope the stress doesn't outweigh the good stuff that you get from getting a dog. Oh, look at her. There you go. Okay, see, this is her best angle from the front. Because if you look from the bottom, and the most of her coat is black, and her tail is hella long, sometimes mukha talaga siyang daga. Mukha kang daga. So yeah, that's the story of how I got a dog. And I do have some ouch. I do have some questions to all the more experienced dog owners out there. First is, do you ever get sawa? Or, nagsasawa, do you ever get sick of your dog? Because, yeah, I get it. It's hype at first, ganon. I do acknowledge that I've been saying about how much responsibilities and stuff you gotta do if you have a dog. But does it ever just go away? When you're like, God, why did I get this dog? It hasn't happened to me. It hasn't, yeah, I'm sure it hasn't. But I'm worried there, kasi once it does, I'm like, what do you do, diba? Like, hindi mo naman anak, pero, diba, responsibility ko. So, till the day she dies, I'm still gonna take care of her, whether I want to or not. The question is, and I hope I continue to want to take care of her till she dies, diba? But yun, do you ever get sour of your dog? What do you do about it? Another question is, what do you do if you messed up? Because those are one of the things that really stressed me out when I first got her. Because there are so many, like, okay, the first bath is so crucial. Kasi how you give her first bath is how she's gonna look at baths for the rest of her life. Make sure you teach her, you train her not to bite slippers, or else that's what she's gonna do for the rest of her life. It's always like that. It's like the puppy months are so crucial, or else, you guessed it, she'll be messed up for the rest of her life. So has anybody out there gave it an honest try? I'm giving it an honest try talaga. Messed up in some stuff, got some unwanted behaviors that lasted permanently. And what do you do about it? Like, do you just live with it? Because, I do love this dog, but this dog doesn't run my life. I mean, it's not that's where I draw the line, and how it's so different between a human child and a dog child. Human child, wala kang choice, diba? That's your duty as a human being. Pero to aso, diba? Parang iba. So, yeah, love ko pa rin siya, but diba? If you have those tips on how you take care of your dogs, just please let me know. If you have any questions, I don't know, maybe we can make a dog community, a dog parent community in here, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people have been getting these little fuckers during the pandemic. So yeah, I have been wanting to make a podcast about this for a while because it's been a huge part of my life. I keep talking about I keep talking about my struggles. Oh, I got COVID. Oh, I faced a breakup. I get tinanggal ako sa mix, mga those type of stuff. But I feel like this is a good thing that's happened in my 2021. Look at that, diba? How can you not love that? Okay, this is how you can't love it, if she just keeps licking your face. So that's it, I guess, for this episode. Anything you want to say, Jess? I also don't understand it when people tell the dog, "Say hi," or "What's your name?" to the dog. What are you gonna do if the dog actually says, "My name is Jess"? Gago, nakakatakot yun, diba? So don't set them up to scare you like that. But here's something cool. So I named her after Jess of New Girl. I posted about this in my stories already. If I whistle the theme song, look what happens. Right? She loves that shit. She knows that's my song. My name is Jess. Oh, diba? I don't know if she likes it or she doesn't like it. That's my technique. And when she goes to the garage and starts going under the dogs, just whistle out that fucking goddamn that song, and then she goes crazy for it. Unless my mic didn't pick that up. Yeah. So that's it. I guess this one isn't necessarily an Antonon one with himself, but Antonon one with Jess. So thanks guys. Thanks for listening to this episode. We got a bunch of stuff coming up in store. We have heard you. All your suggestions. I'm very excited to get on with this. And yeah, this has been Anton Falsa for another episode of the Anton 1 podcast. I'm gonna see you guys next week. Peace out.